Hi folks, this week I'm at Horton Community Farm. I'm in what we like to call our wildlife corridor, and we have allowed various hedges to grow very tall, and there's a large amount of bramble and wild raspberry, and nesting birds just love this habitat. Isabella Tree has recently published the book Wilding, which includes reference to scrub, which is basically brambles, and the natural habitat heading back to succession to woodland. So here at Horton Community Farm we have proportionately quite a large amount of scrub and small trees that are starting to grow back, saplings, and as you can hear, of an evening there's loads and loads of birds. So my invitation to you today is to take some time to notice the sounds around you. And it may be that you are largely inside at the moment. Maybe you're in a flat or a small space. Nevertheless, I would encourage you to look out of the window, look up at the sky, and to listen out of the window and just see and hear what you can find. I read a book, What the Robin Knows, by John Young, maybe 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago. So I've had a couple of years of really observing the birds, hearing them, listening to their patterns. So the book is based on bird language and bird patterns, and that's a different kind of creature revving their engine there. And once you start to listen and focus on it, as some of you who've been to the garden will realise, is that those sounds, they're like a backdrop to my everyday life. I notice them now, and I notice their patterns through the day. So I'm particularly grateful to the birds at the moment. I'm grateful for their sounds, for their presence, for their constancy. They're very consistent. They tell us what time of day it is. I've been getting up in the 3 times a week in the morning, and I've really enjoyed having a mindful moment in my yard and noticing which birds are there. I've been very lucky. It's a small yard, it's a back-to-back, and nevertheless I've got a couple of feeders out, and yeah, I've been very blessed seeing various pairs of birds. So wherever you are, I invite you to take a moment to look up at the sky, to look out the window, and just to stop and listen. What I've noticed is that even if I look out of the window and there's no other birds around, sometimes there are gulls or crows, wood pigeons, magpies. These are the birds that you tend to see higher overhead. And I guess some of the smaller birds hop more from tree to tree. I mean, they do fly overhead, but these are the ones that we tend to see. So if you don't have a large amount of vegetation, you are still fairly likely to see a gull or a crow or a wood pigeon, because they tend to fly in more open spaces. So I encourage you to have a listen, if you can, every day. And in particular, what I'm really enjoying about it is it's a wonderful start and end to the day, or at least a start with daylight and an end with sunset. And that's one of the beauties of the rhythm of the birds, is that they can help to frame our days. And the sounds that we're hearing now are the sounds of birds in the nest. I think I can hear probably a couple of juveniles sort of probably fidgeting and bickering a bit. And there's that dick, dick, dick. So there's different types of bird sounds, and it's a form of communication. And I know in Mexico in particular, for example, the Aztec culture, the Mayan culture, feathers were as important or more important than jewels. So they were the items that adorned headdresses and ceremonial gear. So today's invitation is to spend time listening and